Hi, this is Jimmy LaSalle. On this episode of Stories of the Ink, we gathered some first responders to share their stories. I want to give a special thank you to Sue Barbarisi, who made some introductions to make this possible, as well as my project manager, Lori, who helped organize the chaos that was this episode. This has a wide range. It has some serious stories from 9/11. It has some nice personal stories from the individuals who contributed. And it also has some silly stuff, so it's got a little bit of everything. In fact, you'll even get to know what this sound means.
Pineapple down!
All right, story time.
My first tattoo, my parents weren't crazy about tattoos. I remember my father always told me, "Danny, don't get a tattoo." He's like, if someone's ever chasing you, they're gonna grab your shirt's gonna rip, and they're gonna see the tattoo, and then they can identify you. He was an old school guy, so he's a little getting in trouble when he was a kid. So he always told me, "Don't get a tattoo. They can always identify you." So I wound up getting on my back, on my top of my shoulder, I got it's a heart with a sword through it, and it was the rose around it. It's the mom and dad tattoo. That was like, I figured I'd break the ice with that. They can't hate me for it, they'd have to love it, So that's what I started with, and I didn't tell them for a while until one day I was at the beach and I had my shirt off, and my father looked at me, and I was like, "Yeah, Dad, by the way," I said, so he was like,
My first tattoo I got was, it took me a long time to get it. I joined the military right out of high school. Everyone was getting tattoos. Whether I was in the Marine Corps, whether it was a bulldog, whether it was an eagle, globe, and anchor, you had to get something. But I always wanted something that meant something to me. And not saying that the Marine Corps didn't mean nothing to me. I had a great time. I loved it. But I was always scared to get a tattoo. I got out of the military in December of 2000. Got onto the fire department in July of 2001. I had a newborn baby. Everything was going great. Got assigned to my first firehouse, 276 in Brooklyn. And my first day was 9/11. We all know what happened 9/11. It was a hard time, and I wanted something to put on my, I wanted a tattoo. So I ended up getting a tattoo. It's a cross. It says 343, and representing the brothers who died on 9/11. First day, when we got the call, I was in Brooklyn. All we knew was 2 planes went into the building. The guy, I remember, it was a senior guy that was sitting across from me. He said, "You're the black cloud." And you always want to be the black cloud. You want to be that guy that when you're working, there's a fire. You don't, when you come to work, you want to go to fire in order to, do your job. But when it comes to that, you don't want to be the black cloud. Going back to when I was in probie school, most of my instructors that were training me to be a fireman ended up passing on 9/11. So I didn't know anyone else besides the guys that trained me to become a fireman that passed on 9/11.
The first tattoo I got is of his son on my back. I was pretty much drunk at a TGI Fridays, and a buddy of mine wanted to get a tattoo, a memorial tattoo for his friend that passed away. But he was on the fence about it, and we were drinking and talking, and he finally got the balls to let's go. So I was like, you know what? I'll get one too, just to kind of be with him in the moment. And
well, the first tattoo I got is my German eagle. It's a heritage thing. It's on my back shoulder. It's this, but it was originally the 5 Deutschmark coin that I used to wear. Now I wear this German eagle.
I was 18. I was with my brother, my cousin, and we're all Irish. We decided to get cheers in Gaelic. It's Sláinte. So just because, Irish brothers, I lived with my cousin at the time, we decided, oh, get it.
I'm an impulsive guy. They're not too interesting. I'm the interesting guy. The tattoos aren't that interesting, but when we went, me and my wife were in Florida, and we were just walking down in, Lauderdale, and we walked past a tattoo shop, and I said, "Babe, let's get tattoos, She's from a real heavy Sicilian family, so that would be like a no-no. So I was like, come on, babe, we got to do it. Just do it. So I said, if you get one, I'll get one. So she wound up getting one. She cried through the whole thing, and I wound up getting a. It was just a tribal band. At that time, tribal bands were cool, until Pamela Anderson started coming out with tribal bands, and she came out with she came out with what was it? Barbed wire. She came out with barbed wire, and then I was like, oh no, I gotta. So after that happened, I wound up. Then I got onto the fire department, and I left work one day. There was a new tattoo shop opened up around the corner from the firehouse, and I walked in there and I said, listen, Yana, you gotta just do something with this. Do something. I said, just whatever. She freehanded. She literally just drew on my arm. I said, go with it. Just do it. Make this not a armband anymore. So she did this, and then she threw the flames in to the top, and you know, I figured it would go with the fire department. And since then, since we've been talking, I'm actually finishing this with fire department stuff on Monday. I'm getting something nice on Monday. And while I was waiting, while me and Yana were speaking about me getting this, I got this. I got this from my wife. I got my wife's name on there, and it was just I figured I'd get my wife's name. She's gonna love me, and maybe I'll get lucky that night, you know.
Did it work?
Oh yeah. Oh well, I can't. Well, it's been working ever since. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. She loves me. It's good.
Got a couple drunk ones, honestly. Got a drunken pineapple right here. It's probably the stupidest story in my life, but we were all drunk in my apartment one night, and my cousin, we all got Domino's, and my cousin got a pineapple on his pizza, and the pineapples just kept falling all over my apartment. And we just kept screaming, pineapple down, pineapple down. Stupidest thing in the world.
Down.
And my buddy's a good artist, and he just drew up a drunk pineapple, and we got it. We all got it, 4 of us. It was a little crazy. Got Mahala right here. No idea why. Lost a bet.
Hey, come to our website and check out our scavenger hunt list. We have a neat list of things that we want to hear from you on. We have lost bets, we have regrets, we have cougars with cougars, we have all kinds of fun stuff on there. So check back regularly, we're always adding to it. And send us a video clip. There's a place for you to post it up there. We'll take a look and you can be on a future episode.
Got another one on my ribs. It's the song lyrics to our wedding song and the date we were married. It was Aaron Lewis. And it's pretty much my favorite artist. He's says, "You are the hand I have to hold as I grow old." And the date when we got married.
I have a tattoo of was a New York City paramedic, and everybody in life goes through life with a monkey in the back. I kept my monkey on my shoulder so I could remember what I've been through, and it's where I started off in Lower Manhattan and where I ended up in the South Bronx. And I had this first tattoo. I was 18 years old. I got this first tattoo when I went to this pagan's motorcycle shop and walked in to get a tattoo, and they were going to kill me, you know. And I'm like, "What do you guys want?" I go, "So I got Bart Simpson," and I'm like, "You don't want a Bart Simpson, you know." He goes, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm a paramedic." So he said, "Well, let's do a paramedic for you." And then on 9/11, I called in sick, and my partner got killed, and the guy that got mandated, got in the truck, got killed. So I had the flag done as a little memory of the city.
My other tattoo, after 9/11, I went back into the military, into the reserves. I got called up right after 9/11, went back for a year, came back to the firehouse, and ended up joining the Army. And I was getting ready for deployment again. And I didn't want to forget where I was coming from, which was the Marine Corps. So I ended up getting a Marine Corps tattoo. The reason why I got the Marine Corps tattoo is because I was in a new service. And to me, there's no other service like the Marine Corps.
The next one is a dragon that I have up over my shoulder and my chest onto my back. It's just a black and white dragon. There was a buddy of mine that's a very famous tattoo artist now. It was before he was famous. It was a bunch of me and my friends in high school. We went up to a place like this. It was a top floor apartment. He was working on us in his apartment. That's my dragon that goes over the shoulder. And then I finished up my sleeve with a seahorse. It was I was a Jones Beach lifeguard, and after 10 years, a lot of the lifeguards get a tattoo of a seahorse. It's the Jones Beach logo, and a lot of them get a very, very tiny one, like on their hip or somewhere very discreet. And I wanted to go big, and I finished up my sleeve with the seahorse.
I got a V right here, Roman numeral 5. Another drunk one, but my cousin passed away when I was really young, and she was like a big part of our family. And so me, my brother, my cousins, we all got 17 together. That was her number throughout high school. So we all got that like together. So my brother got the X, I got the 5, and my 2 cousins got 1s, which is pretty crazy because then they just have eyes. It's just like this $65 tattoo for an eye. I have a saying on my sleeve right here. It's every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. I don't know. It's Oscar Wilde. It's for the ladies. You know, decided to mix it up. No. This is an album cover of my favorite band, their first album. It's From Autumn to Ashes, short stories with tragic endings. My favorite song. The album name is Too Bad You're Beautiful. I don't know, it was like the first hardcore band I ever listened to, and they kind of got me into the music genre, and opened up my whole life like for the type of music I'm into now. And I was at Warped Tour, the first time I ever saw them. A lot of my friends went to go see Every Time I Die, another band I'm really into, and I had the decision, they were playing at the same time. So I decided to go see, you know, my favorite band by myself, and they played the whole album. They had 4 albums out at the time. I wasn't really into the other 3, but this is by far the best album I've ever heard. And what's it called? The first song they played, I was in the mosh pit, and I got a backswing and I broke my nose. I'm drenched in blood. It's pouring out like a river. Like salmon could have swam up it. It's crazy. And I'm going through the motions, whatever. I'm deciding like, should I leave or not? And the next song they play is the first song they ever wrote, and it's like my favorite song by them, Reflections. And they come on stage, you know, they get back up after they finish their first song. They're like, this is the first song we ever wrote. And I knew right then, I was like, I got to stay. So instead of going to the hospital right away, I just stayed for their whole set, and they played most of their first album, and it was one of the best days of my life, even though I was covered in blood. I have another lost bet. I got boss on the inside of my lip. Who's the boss? Nobody. Not me. It was just one of those things. But when you get a lip tattoo, you automatically tear up, so you look like you don't look too tough when you're getting it. And my cousin ended up getting it too, a lip tattoo, right after me. But he was laughing at me, making fun of me the whole time while I'm getting the lip tattoo, because tears just running down my face. It didn't really hurt too much.
And then from there, I got Las Vegas, which is where I met my wife, actually, and to kind of commemorate the trip that I was on. A buddy of mine that's now since passed away. Probably the best trip of my life. Met the woman of my dreams. And then from there, I wound up getting a tattoo for my son. The date he was born, the time he was born. And then I got a little tiger in here, kind of to always, that I'm always looking out for him. That if anybody messes with him, I'm here to him up. That's pretty much it. And I saved my other arm for my daughter, which is due the beginning of May.
Hey, this next clip with Carl, he worked on the pile post 9/11. He volunteered his time for a couple of months. When he came in, he was talking about this, and he did drive a long way to come and share his story. He saw things that most of us probably wouldn't understand or see. And whenever he started talking about it, he had to stop. So he wanted to keep his interview to kind of the factual information. And without further ado, here's his story.
Okay, I was NYPD for 20 years. Came on in 1967 and retired in 1987. On September 11th, 2001, obviously everyone is aware of the fact that we were attacked by a terrorist group. And at the time that it happened, New York City, Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania were almost simultaneously attacked. Knowing that there had to be casualties, knowing that there had to be carnage, men, women, children, and also first responders, made me feel that there had to be something done. I was retired from the police department for some 24 years at the time, and or 14 years, I'm sorry. And I went down there. I went down there on a volunteer basis. First assignment was in Staten Island, and at that time they were supposedly setting up a temporary morgue. That didn't pan out, and the retirees that were volunteering wound up going down to the pile. And I did time down at the pile and saw things that were kind of devastating. Worked down there all of September, all of October, November, and into December. And I only have one tattoo. I was 53 years old when I got it. And I got it because basically there's three reasons why you would get a tattoo, at least that I believe. And that would be memories and closure, the artwork itself, and passion and love. Well, my reason was probably the memories and the closure. So I decided in early October that I would get something permanently affixed to my body that would keep me remembering what happened there, the responders, the first responders, PAPD, NYPD, FDNY, that lost their lives trying to save others. Something that they do on a daily basis. So I laid out a tattoo, I laid out a design, a sketch that I thought would be comforting to me. And what it was a police shield in the background of the two Twin Towers. It has the numbers on it of 9/11/01, obviously representing the date that it happened. It has the red, white, and blue stripes for our country. It's also adorned by a cross for those that were killed, and a purple heart. And the purple heart is symbolic of the heroes that perished unnecessarily. On the top of it, at the top of the tattoo is a starburst, an open sky, some sunlight, and the numbers of 343, 37, and 23. And those numbers represent the lives lost in the fire department, NYPD, and PAPD. I felt that I needed something to keep close to me and remember what happened. I was not in the military. I was in the police department during the time of the last war, or the Vietnam War, I should say. And I just felt that I needed to go there, do whatever service I could possibly do, and help out those people that I work with on a daily basis, although I was removed for quite some years during retirement. So to this date, I still feel that I did the right thing. I have no regrets over it. But like I said, it was 53 years. I never had any intentions of getting a tattoo, not for any particular reason, but that's what basically prompted me.